as we approach a goal, we're often already dreaming into the next goal. And I've seen that. It wasn't like I hit 1 million and I'm like, okay, I'm done now. It was like, how can we repeat it? How can we have more profitability? How can we be less involved in the business and still have $1 million come to us? How can we turn $1 million into 2 million? Hello, beautiful souls. You are going to love today's episode. If you want your story to sound like so many of the guests on this show, then you've probably realized that healing your relationship with money is a key piece of the puzzle. Don't worry, I've got you. Head to moneywoundquiz.com and answer 6 quick questions to learn which money wounds are blocking you. And I'll send you an email with a link to a money healing masterclass for free. No more waiting. Go take the quiz now. What's up, friends? I'm recording on a random Wednesday in August. It's a little rainy outside, which is a pleasant surprise. And me and the kids both have low-grade fevers. Thankfully, none of us are feeling too bad, but we just had to cancel all the day's activities. I feel so fortunate that it's a Wednesday because those of you who know me and have been following my work for a while know that I do no work Wednesdays, so I don't have a bunch of meetings and stuff. It is the day that I schedule personal appointments. So I did have one personal appointment. Didn't send JJ to camp. He's not going to go to School of Rock today. And so the kids have just been watching screens all day, guilt-free, just giving their body a rest. I've been Netflix and chilling, but again, I actually don't feel too bad. And so I felt inspired to record this episode. And here I am. Jeff's been in Michigan and he comes home tomorrow. He's been having a great time. He actually went up to some of the places in northern Michigan where my family vacationed every year growing up. And he was sending me pictures. It was so nostalgic. We're actually going to go there next summer and take the kids with us because some friends of ours will be getting married. So it's a good excuse to go back. But then the timing lines up with when my parents will be at that vacation spot. So we're going to join them. And I'm really excited for my kids to get to experience the same place that I went on vacation every year. So that's one thing I appreciate my parents is they did a good job with traditions. And I really appreciated those traditions growing up. And I sometimes wonder if I'm failing my kids a little bit because we don't have a ton of traditions with our family. And I tend to want to explore new things. So Jeff definitely would be more on the team of let's do the same thing every year. We loved it once. Let's do it again and again. And I've theoretically been on board with that. And then after 3 years or maybe 4 years, I'm I think I'm done. I think I'm ready for something new. Look, my kids are having a pretty good childhood. I know that. And there's a part of me but are they missing the traditions and just the thing that you do every single year, no matter what? Anyhow. It's amazing how the mom guilt or just second guessing yourself as a parent can just sneak in any which way. But that is not what I want to focus on for today's episode. Actually, I want to talk a little bit about the podcast itself. And as this podcast has been downloaded over 15,000 times, which is just incredible. And I think that's not even including YouTube, where there's been many more watches as well. But this has been such a special space for me over the last 2+ years. It's definitely been the space where I've been able to develop and refine my message and my voice to figure out what I really want to talk about, what matters, what has impact, what lands, to open up my throat chakra. It's honestly been such a gift to me. And I'm so grateful for so many of you who have reached out to tell me what it's meant to you. That can be really helpful because sometimes the odd thing about podcasting is that you forget that there are people on the other end of things. And thankfully, Jeff is my number one fan. So he'll let me know, I listened to your most recent podcast episode. And then I get to relive it because truthfully, I forget what I said. I'm less likely to forget the people that I interviewed and what they said, but something about me sharing stuff, it's as soon as I share it, it just leaves me. So I don't know if it's because it's channeled or what exactly, but then it's nice when it gets brought back up to me. So then I actually get to re-experience it again. So one of the things that I've been doing with my brand this year is going through a rebranding exercise. And as if you listen to the episode with Rochelle Serna, I hired Rochelle. She's one of my best friends, soul sisters, and she is an incredibly talented web designer and really has an eye for branding. And so we've been going through just what is this next iteration and elevation for Emily Wilcox coaching, and how do we represent that visually for the website, for social media, with the logos, the fonts, like the look and feel of everything. And it's been so fun to go through the exercises, and some of it is starting to trickle out into my content. I just approved a draft of the homepage of the website. So I don't know when the full website will go live, but hopefully soon. And I started feeling like I was ready for a rebrand of this space as well. And what I really wanted is for this podcast to feel connected to a movement, to feel like it was about more than me and about more than money. And of course, when I first started using M Makes Money, it was an Instagram handle, but it felt really edgy to me to really name that and claim it. And I've actually had clients that have hired me because, not like fully, but partially because that was my handle. And they just loved the way that I was owning it and talking about it and not having all of this weird energy around money and wealth and wanting to be wealthy and all of the things. And I loved the double entendre. And so that was a fun thing for the show, was like, yes, M makes money, and with me being M, but also the letter M makes money. And there was just something like so factual about it. It was like, we can just talk about money and we can have it be a fact-based conversation, and we can bring some neutrality into it and some playfulness. Like, it doesn't have to be this heavy topic that means so much. And so certainly M Makes Money has served me in many ways. And I'm so grateful for the energetics around that name and the way that it served this podcast. And I plan to continue with M Makes Money as my Instagram handle. When I think about a movement, I don't think about M Makes Money. It does feel more personal, and it feels more centered around me than I would want a movement to be. And there's a phrase that I've been using in my writing over the past 6 months that to me has always felt so much bigger than a social media post or a sales pitch for a mastermind. And it's always actually felt like a movement. And so immediately I thought of it as I was feeling into the rebrand of the podcast. And I knew that it held the energetic signature to usher us into this next stage of evolution as a community, as a platform, and as a movement. So with that, I proudly announce that moving forward, this will be the Joyous Path to Millions podcast. Oh, you heard it here first, the Joyous Path to Millions podcast. And I will continue to dive deep into the honest behind the scenes conversations about entrepreneurship, the honest and brave conversations about money, wealth building, and healing money wounds. These are the conversations that have transformed me, that have transformed us, and given so much hope to all of you who take the time to write me and let me know. So I wanted to share a little bit about what does the Joyous Path to Millions mean to me? And it's also an inquiry that I'll be diving into with my guests, because I really believe in the uniqueness of each of our Joyous Path to Millions. The reason it feels like a movement to me is there's a beautiful balancing in the reclamation of the path. So you've heard me talk about balancing masculine and feminine energy. And I really believe that it's encompassed in the Joyous Path to Millions. The path to millions is the masculine part. The joyousness of it, the savoring of the journey is the feminine part. And there's also a beautiful energetic balance between the emphasis being on the destination and the emphasis being on the journey. And I don't know about you, but when there's too much focus on enjoying the journey, maybe this is just my a-hole brain, but I start to feel like you're just trying to trick me into enjoying the journey because I'm never going to get to the destination. Like it feels like I'm having to give up on the destination in order to enjoy the journey. And I've never been willing to do that. It's no, you're trying to take my eye off the prize, and I'm not willing to take my eye off the prize. So if you've ever felt that way, I wanted to recognize that. And I also understand that your prize may not be millions, or it may not be millions at this point. It might be the joyous path to 6 figures, the joyous path to the relationship of my dreams, the joyous path to the body that I want, that it's going to feel great for me. Or it could be the joyous path to 10 millions or the joyous path to 9 figures. Like wherever you're at, there is something beautiful and I think something edgy about just naming the destination and saying, yeah, that is the path that I'm on. That is the direction that I'm going in. And I'm not gonna dance around that. And I'm not gonna try and call it something more vague so that you don't really know, which I think often happens with spiritual vernacular just around like abundance or wealth building or overflow or surplus. And I love all of those words. And it's when you're using them within the energetics of avoidance, I can feel it. And I don't like the energy of avoidance. So to me, naming millions and naming the journey is a huge part of believing that we're worthy of it and believing that we can have it. And just going after the destination and doing it in a way that doesn't honor the journey, I have been there. Oh my gosh. I've spent more time there than I care to admit. And I know that it serves because had I not done that, I wouldn't be able to teach and I wouldn't be able to be a money healer and a business mentor in the way that I am, because so many of my clients have gone through the same thing where it's like, there's this pattern of self-sacrificing and being in the struggle now and believing in delayed gratification and believing in a payoff later. And so I don't believe in only focusing on the destination and thinking that the end is going to justify the means. What I have found is that as humans, we're actually pretty bad at predicting what we want and how it's going to make us feel. And we often think that we're going to just get to the end zone and do the touchdown dance and celebrate until the end of time. And that's not how it works. Then you go back on the field and there's another play and you're trying to score more points. We're meant to grow and evolve. We've signed up for a human experience. And the day that we're like, okay, everything's checked off the list, I've done every single thing I wanted to do, it's probably not going to happen, or it's going to be our deathbed. As we approach a goal, we're often already dreaming into the next goal. And I've seen that. It wasn't like I hit 1 million and I'm like, okay, I'm done now. It was like, how can we repeat it? How can we have more profitability? How can we be less involved in the business and still have $1 million come to us? How can we turn $1 million into 2 million? There are so many ways in which the destination continues to evolve. And so I don't want to be on a hike where I'm hating every minute of it. All I'm noticing is how my body is aching, how I'm not enjoying it, only to get to the destination and then not even enjoy the destination because I realize, oh, wait, there's actually a bigger peak behind it and I've got to keep going and I've got to keep hiking. No, that's where the joyous path comes in. The joyous path is about really savoring the journey. I'm not just trying to get to the top of the mountain as fast as possible and treating my body like a workhorse and hating every minute of it. No, I'm going to find great people to hike with. I'm going to hear their stories. I'm going to share my stories. I'm going to revel in the human connection. I'm going to stop and enjoy the most delicious snacks. I'm going to take in the views along the way. I'm going to give thanks to the land. I'm going to take pictures. I'm going to enjoy the expansiveness of being so high up. I'm going to look down and see where I came from and recognize how far I've already climbed on my journey. That's the joyous path. And when we're on the joyous path, then the paradox is we actually don't care as much how long it takes us to get to our destination. And because we release that time pressure, we get there more quickly. And we get there in such creative and magical and unexpected ways because we're really open to the possibility. We're in a joy first, pleasure first, life first living paradigm. And that is a very strong magnet of receptivity for universe to come in and co-create with us and create new pathways and shortcuts and really unexpected ways for us to get to our destination so much faster. So to me, the joyous path to millions encompasses all of that. It encompasses loving each step and each day and practicing life first living and still holding the vision, still naming the desire and moving toward it and being able to know whether you're moving toward it or not, both in how you feel as well as some objective measures as well. There is nothing wrong with trail markers, okay? And I was just in Yosemite, so all of these analogies about hiking are so fresh in my mind, but there were plenty of times when we were so grateful to see a sign letting us know that A, we were still on the trail, B, we were on the right trail, and C, how much distance we had left to get to our destination. That is a really good thing. That is a good thing. And so when we have measures in our life and our business to both recognize how far we've come and recognize the distance between where we're at and the goal, that's good. That's good. But being on the joyous path to millions allows us to contextualize that in terms of being proud of how far we've come, not in the lack and scarcity of how far we have to go. Because the destination is going to move. It's not that we're going to get there and then we're done and we celebrate until the end of time. Of course, there will be another destination. There will be another goal. And so knowing that, we can understand that our life is the path. And we want our life to be a joyous one. And it brings me to tears and it humbles me so much to be on this joyous path to millions. Because all of a sudden, it's like everything in my life is in service to this. And that's why it feels like a movement to me. It feels like something so much bigger than me. And your joyous path to millions may look really different, but it's like I go to Pilates. It feels like I'm on the joyous path to millions. I make my kids their lunch. I feel like I'm on the joyous path to millions. I swim in my pool. Joyous path to millions. I enjoy my coffee out on the balcony looking at the ocean. I'm on the joyous path to millions. Each part of my life gets to become an act of devotion and gratitude and appreciation and finding the joy. And there's a feedback loop where from that joy, it reminds me that I'm on the joyous path. So feel free to take this up. Make this part of your own movement. You're welcome to use the hashtag Joyous Path to Millions and use the hashtag Joyous Path to Millions podcast as well, so that people can understand where they can plug into this inspiration and become a part of this movement. I would be so honored to be shepherding this and to be one piece of this movement coming to life. And nothing would make me happier than to learn more about each of your joyous paths to millions, or your joyous path to blank. And for you to name that and share with me what it is you're moving towards. What is your heart's desire? Like, that to me brings tears to my eyes. It brings so much joy to my heart. And it makes me feel so alive and so on mission in a way that it's really hard to put words into. So I just feel so incredibly excited, so incredibly honored that this is the last M Makes Money Show podcast, and that this is the beginning of the Joyous Path to Millions podcast. So as always, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening, for your love, for your dedication, for your sharing. It means the world. And from here on out, you will see a new little icon wherever it is that you listen to your podcast. And we'll have a fresh intro and outro with the new branding. And you'll get to tap into the real feeling and energetic signature, the unique vibration that is the Joyous Path to Millions. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will talk to you soon. Listeners like you have made this a top 25% global podcast. So thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe, leave a review, and share this show with someone you love. I always appreciate listener feedback, so feel free to slide into my DMs on Instagram at mmakesmoney as well. And if you want to explore hiring me as your money healer and business mentor, check the links in the show notes to explore, or head to explore.emilywilcox.com. Until next time, I'm sending you all the magic money vibes.